Well, welcome into Getting Help from Uncle Sam. Aren't you glad you live in Alabama? You realize that November 3rd, by about 8 o'clock at night, our election was done. We knew who was elected, and we were very fortunate to have Barry Moore elected to the House of Representatives. Last time you sat in that chair, you were candidate Moore. Now I have to have more respect and call you representative, which is, I'm very happy for you.
Well, thank you. And we're honored, obviously, happy to be in this position.
Right.
And I tell everybody, for such a time as this, though, my goodness, I never dreamed what we'd be going into, Jack.
Baptism of fire, buddy.
Absolutely,
Baptism of
absolutely.
fire.
A baptism of fire, and it's an unusual time in our nation. And so we're going to need a lot of prayer. We're going to stand for what's right and fight for what we believe in.
That's all you got to do.
That's
It's
exactly
an
right.
interesting thing. We need to let our viewers know that, so if you voted for this guy, that Mo Brooks, who's very well respected in the House of Representatives, recently on a radio interview said he was so happy to have you up there in that position because he knows you're going to stand up, first of all, for the people that you represent, but more importantly, you're going to stand up for your principles.
That's exactly right. And,
You've got to.
I ran based on that. And,
Right.
and I'm not, and my wife told me a few weeks ago, she said, you don't worry about getting reelected. She said, you worry about doing what's right.
Right.
We're going
Right.
to fight for the next generation, Jack. This election, what's going on is so much bigger than just me or you or what's going on. And it's the future of our country is at stake. And I truly believe that.
You're right.
I've been in some third world countries. One time when there was a presidential election, and we were talking to the people in the little town there, and they're like, doesn't matter who we vote for.
That's right.
And we don't want that in this country. We want to be able to pick our
we're
leaders.
seeing it, though. That's the problem.
We're seeing an election. They're trying to steal an election. I mean, just the numbers don't make sense. We went to bed that night at midnight on November 3rd. Looked like Trump had 300 delegates, and he was going to be the next president of the United States. We wake up the next morning and something's happened.
That's right, which is unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Now, when will you go up to Washington and stay?
January the 3rd is my swearing in at noon.
Okay.
And then we'll go into session January the 5th, 6th time frame, and that'll be the day we take our stand.
Okay. When you say take our stand, that means that Mo and a group of you are going to be able to say that this is not right and we need to change it, not only now, but like you said before, for the future. Because we can't, this is ridiculous. We can't go on like this.
The Constitution gives Congress the final say in elections, and we
Okay.
can go to the floor. We get one senator to join us. It'll be in a joint session,
Right.
and it'll be ran by Vice President Pence, the President of the Senate, actually. And we will have to certify or approve the delegates. Mo Brooks, myself, Marjorie Greene from Georgia have so far, as members of House, have decided we're going to protest those delegates. We need a senator to join us, and then in that case, if we could throw out the delegates, we realize there's enough wrongdoing in the election, we throw the delegates out, and then Congress then begins to vote state by state. In that situation, Republicans have 27,
Absolutely.
Democrats have 20. We could determine the president of the United States. And that's our plan. We're going to fight for that end.
Well, and that's probably the only thing that's left because I'm every day I am shocked that we find out something's been not done the right way in whatever state it is, and all of a sudden everything kind of dies.
It's almost like it's swept under the rug.
Yeah,
isn't it?
absolutely.
And
It doesn't
that's
go anywhere.
frustrating for us.
Yeah.
We were counting on the Supreme Court. We've been counting in the years past to the Department of Justice to hold Hillary and some of the
Right.
folks accountable. And it just seems like it's coming down to the elected officials, and it's coming down to us. And granted, this is not a burden I necessarily want to bear, but I am willing to bear. But I will need prayer. It's January the 6th at 1 p.m.
Well, you're going to get them.
We're going to need them.
Because first of all, you're in a state that believes in God and believes
Amen.
in prayer.
Amen.
And they can see what can happen. And I fight and you fight. I've got 9 grandchildren, and I feel terrible about what I'm leaving them if things go forward the way they're going
I
forward.
mean, I agree. I think I was telling somebody earlier today, a friend of mine, I said, this is our responsibility because
Yes.
we weren't given this situation. We were given a nation that had pretty secure votes, law was enforced. I mean, this sort of thing hadn't been tolerated in our nation, and not in my lifetime. And, it's our responsibility to now, like you said, we've got another generation we've got to think about. You got
Right.
grandkids, I got kids,
Right.
grandkids coming. I hope we got to stand and fight.
And it's not about Democrat or Republican.
Not at all.
It's about doing the right thing. So any of you viewing this, don't come back and say, hey, Jack, because I'm being pretty vocal. You're vocal, but,
Sure.
obviously our representative is
Sure.
a Republican. And I'm going to say, if something wasn't right, I wouldn't be voting for the Republican.
I just
If
want to
it's
get
not
it right. I told some folks in an interview with Fox News, I said, it does not matter to me who wins. It's not about Donald Trump or
Right.
Joe Biden. It's about the integrity of the election process.
That's right.
And that our people know that when they go to the vote, their vote is their consent to govern. And if we steal their consent, then we're in illegitimate governance.
Right.
And we have to make sure that we do not steal, that those votes are counted properly, that your vote's counted. It's not canceled out by a bunch of mailed-in ballots.
Moving forward, obviously, once you're in the position, probably the biggest cloud that's still hanging over America is the COVID, I think. What are your views? What do you think? Is
Well,
it-
I'm not seeing the pandemic levels that they kind of talked us and
Right.
kind of led us into. I mean, the death toll right now in the country is 2.5 million. Last year we had 2.9 million. To me, that says this is not a pandemic, and it scares me that we've kind of been led down this path that this is a deadly, deadly disease, and we've kind of given up our freedom. Now they're attacking the worship services and different chapels trying to have service, but you can get on an airplane and fly around, or you can go to Lowe's. I just have trouble with them picking and choosing, especially when they start to infringe upon our freedom of religion.
Right. Well, when you're back in town, that seat's going to be welcome for you, okay?
Thank you, Jack. I appreciate it.
You can let us know what's going on. You may not want to let us know what's going
I'm
on.
going to let you know what's going on, whether you want to know or not.
Amen. Well, just remember this. It's like I say, I'm originally from Chicago. I wouldn't go back to Chicago if they paid me $5 million. It's good to be in Alabama where we understand the fact that a vote is very important, but let's do it the right way. And we'll be right back right after this.